Okay. So before we get started, does anyone have any burning questions they came in with? No? Okay, good. So I'm Tom Rizzo. My email address is up here. It's just Tom Riz, T-H-O-M-R-I-Z. I do spell Tom T-O-M. My email alias is T-H-O-M because it's Thomas truncated. So you can call me Tom, you can call me Thom, you can call me Hey Guy, whatever you want to call me. Just call me. No, I'm just kidding. If you have any questions during this presentation, just shout it out. If I don't see you, if I'm babbling on something, and just get my attention up here. This is a 200-level presentation, but we can go as deep as anyone wants to go. What we're really going to go through today is an overview of all the collaborative technologies that are coming out over the next 6 to 12 months from Microsoft, and we'll talk about the strategy behind the thinking of all these technologies. We're not just throwing out products and hoping they stick against the wall, right, in our customers. So we do have some sort of a strategy that we'll talk about. There's some things that don't fit into the strategy today, but you'll see over the long term we'll make sure that all fits together. And so I'll give a high-level overview of all these things. I'll try and demo them all. So we'll see a demo of Office 10. Has everyone here seen a demo of Office 10? Office Designer, all that good stuff. We'll take a look at a demo of Tahoe as well, and we'll talk more in depth from a application developer standpoint what Tahoe really means. And then we'll obviously demo Exchange 2000. And then I've got for you Mobile Information Server, so Airstream, the product code name Airstream. So I'll demo some of that stuff for you. I was going to demo some stuff on my phone, but I don't get a signal in here. So if anyone's really interested in looking at Outlook Mobile Access, we can go outside and you can play on the phone for a little while and actually see Outlook Mobile Access. We'll also talk about some other stuff that really doesn't fall into the Exchange space or the web storage system space, but is collaborative in nature. We'll talk about Office Web Services, so OWS, and talk about some of the technology inside of there and how that plays in with the rest of our collaborative technologies. And we'll talk about MLT, Microsoft Learning Technologies, as well, which will be coming out in the next 6 to 12 months. Built on top of the web storage system. It will be out sometime next year or maybe a little bit into the year after. But it's really targeted at corporate learning. So you can build corporate learning solutions on top of that technology, all built on top of the Microsoft platform. So SQL Server, Exchange 2000, all that good stuff. Okay. So let's drill in. It's the last presentation of this day, so you're all probably tired, had a whole bunch of cookies, you have a question, which I'm going to make you wait for like 2 minutes while I rant and rave about how everyone's tired. I'm tired too, so perk me up if I'm getting down. But what's your question?
I just hope you help us answer the Office Web Server versus Tahoe.
We'll take a shot at it, right? So let me throw out Tom's top 5 questions that I always get. All right, and let's see if that answers any of your questions. Number 1, the first question that people always ask is, I'll take the first one. The Exchange Group is now under the same guy who owns SQL. Are you rewriting this web storage system on top of SQL? Right? That's the first question that people always ask, and the answer is, it doesn't really matter what the back end of the web storage system is. Right? Do any of you today who write to Exchange write to JET? No. You write to this abstraction of a layer which is called the web storage system. And so it provides higher level interfaces like ADO and WebDAV and an installable file system. You don't really care what's underneath. So if we ever rip out whatever the hell is under Exchange and put it under SQL Server, it doesn't matter to you. So customers, yourselves, you shouldn't be concerned about what the low-lying guts is unless you're a backup vendor, which none of us are, because they're the only people that talk at that level to the actual database. So that's the first question. You don't answer the question. I mean, obviously we're always looking at ways that we can share technologies. We don't want to have, rewrite everything because the SQL team is writing an installable file system on top of SQL Server. We've already got one on top of Exchange, so we obviously want to share technologies wherever we can. So, it's a very hard problem to take all the investment we have inside of the Exchange database technology and move that over overnight to SQL Server. So like in a year, you're not going to see Exchange written on top of SQL Server. You may never see Exchange written on top of SQL Server, right? So it doesn't really matter. It's extracted from the actual developer or even the end user or even the IT guy, right? So that's the first question. So I don't know if you've heard that one. Second one is, hey, I heard this web storage system thing is going into the OS. Has anyone heard that one? Okay. And the answer to that is, hey, that's up in the air, right? Who knows about that one? We would like this technology, obviously, to ship everywhere inside of the OS because it makes a good backend for iOS, right? We can serve up web files. We're an XML store. We have events, right? We have an installable file system. So, we would love for that to happen, but that's not a guaranteed thing. Obviously, it would make sense to have an enhanced database like the web storage system, enhanced APIs behind web applications inside of the web, inside of IIS itself. The third one, how does OWS fit? And we'll talk about that when we get to OWS. So I'll make you wait in suspense to hear the OWS story. What's the fourth one that I always hear? Let me think. Workflow and BizTalk. Like the workflow designer and BizTalk. That's another one that we always get. Like, so what is Microsoft's like workflow strategy? Right? You guys we're pretty much throwing products against the wall and hoping they stick. No, I'm just kidding. Just joking on that one. We do have a strategy here. Right? Obviously, our workflow designer for Exchange 2000 and the overall web storage system is targeted more at an application level workflow. It's more of a person-to-person sort of workflow environment. It's not as BizTalk really targets more of a application-to-application workflow where you can have different applications do workflow processes. We just target a single application, right? You can't have multiple applications really very easily talking to one another like in BizTalk. We don't really do very well inter-organizational workflow, so you can't say, I'm going to talk to my supplier who's in a different organization and really have a workflow system that really works that way. BizTalk is really targeted at that because they have all the document mapping and the workflow engine can work across that environment. The other thing is Exchange can be just a core part, or our workflows into the web storage system can be a core part of a BizTalk orchestration. So you can just plug us right in, and we could be your document approval part of your workflow. And then the other key thing about BizTalk and the difference with the web storage system workflow that we have is that BizTalk is more for long-running transactions and workflows. We are very, if you have a workflow that takes, 10 days inside of Exchange, that thing's going to be locked. That document is going to be locked for 10 days, right? And BizTalk is very good at doing long-running transactions, long-running workflows inside of there, as well as doing disconnected sorts of workflow applications. Right? With Exchange, we're always connected. We always got to be connected to the database itself. So that's the difference there. And that was 4. Is there a fifth one? Anyone's? Why does Exchange 2000 kick ass? No, I'm just kidding. So much. No. What was that one? PKI? PKI? Signing forms. Oh. Hey, it's all HTML now. There you go. Use SSO. Don't sign your forms. Just use security. No. Are you talking about Outlook forms, or are you talking about any forms we got? Oh, so digital signatures. I don't have an answer for that for you there. Right, we're moving to all this web storage system form stuff, which will eventually migrate over to web forms, the Visual Studio 7 web form. So still unsolved. That's a Visual Studio problem now. So we're getting out of that business. So just our quick agenda, we'll go over the strategy, at least from a web storage system standpoint. We'll talk about where things don't really fit in when we talk about collaboration. We have a number of different solutions for different scenarios when we talk about collaboration. We will drill into all these products as well as even more. So I don't have OWS up there, but that rolls under Office 10. So we'll obviously talk about Exchange 2000 as being the first piece of the puzzle coming in with the web storage system. We'll talk about how Tahoe fits in. We'll talk about Office 10 and how we take the great technology that we put into Exchange and Tahoe and move that down to the client, and what the difference is between the server-based one and the client-based one. We'll talk about Mobile Information Server, Airstream. We'll talk about MLT, the learning technologies, and then we'll finally talk about, and this isn't in the right order, but that's okay. We'll talk about all the .NET services and tools and where we're going with Visual Studio.NET and the .NET framework and all that good stuff with all the stuff that we have. As I said, I'll try and demo all this stuff to you. It might be a little slow, but we'll get through it because some of my builds aren't running all that fast. So the first thing is we do have a strategy, right? It's going to take us a little while for it all to come together, right? It's not a overnight every piece falls into place. The key thing here is that when we talk about the strategy, it really comes together in that technology that we call the web storage system. So we are trying to figure out ways to brand other technologies that may not be Exchange-based, but to brand them some sort of web storage system name so that's consistent across a product line, no matter what backend you're talking to. So you'll see the pieces come together, right? Exchange 2000 being out the gate first is the first piece of the puzzle that comes in. And our strategy right now is centered around this web storage system technology, right? And the first question that most people ask, most customers ask, of all of us in the room is, what the hell is the web storage system, right? So the first thing is it's the enhanced database that we built into Exchange 2000. What we did with that is we broke it out so that we could ship it in other products. So we said, hey, we've got a pretty good winner here of this idea of abstracting everything into higher level objects, into the internet protocols that people want, into allowing people to build applications that are very data-centric or document-centric. And so we thought that would be a good technology to share across other Microsoft teams. So we gave it over to the Tahoe team. We gave it over to the Office 10 team. So this is internally, if you hear something called Magma, right? This is the technology that is standalone web storage system that Tahoe takes and that Office 10 takes. Now, no customer should ever hear the word Magma, right? They shouldn't even know what Magma is. What they should really hear is if they want a departmental web storage system, if they want a client-based web storage system, they should be buying Tahoe or they should be buying Office 10, right? So you'll hear people talk about Magma and all this stuff. It's the web storage system, but no customer can buy Magma. They have to buy a product such as Tahoe or Office 10. And right out of the box, right, it provides the native web protocol support, provides an installable file system, it provides eventing, right? So you can event no matter what protocol you're talking. So you can fire events, synchronous, asynchronous, and also timer-based events. And it provides a workflow engine right out of the box. So there's no install that you have to do to get the workflow engine. It's just provided as a core part of the web storage system. And you can build applications directly against it, either using the workflow designer or programmatically using any sort of tool that you want. So what does it really look like when we talk to people about the web storage system? Well, obviously you have some sort of client application, whether it's Office 10 or a web browser. Web browser will get you the base services that you want. Office 10 will be the enhanced client. So this is where that if you're running inside of Office 10, you get things like the Outlook view control instead of just our DHTML views inside of Outlook Web Access. So you can do things like field chooser and the standard things that you can do inside of Outlook, you can do inside of your web application. So it's just there's a HTML3.2 view, which is good. There's a IE5 view, which is better. And then there's obviously an Office 10 view in the client applications, which is best. And what Office 10 does, or your web browser, and we'll talk about the local web storage system, is they talk directly to this local web storage system, which intercepts the calls to your server, whether it's a Tahoe server or whether it's an Exchange server. That local web storage system, out the back of it, we talk DAV up to the server. So no longer should you see inside of Outlook 10 any hanging of the Outlook client. It doesn't matter whether whether your network is connected or not. You're always talking to this local web storage system. It's kind of like Exchange server running on your local machine, except it's obviously not got all the overhead of Exchange inside of it. And it talks DAV on the back end. We'll synchronize into this local web storage system your data, and then you just party all day in that local web storage system. Now, there are some things that the local web storage system does not support. That was a Freudian slip. One of the things it does not support is events. Because with this local web storage system, we have to be able to run this on the multitude of client platforms, such as Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows 2000, Windows NT 4. And all of those platforms don't provide the eventing infrastructure that we need to provide the rich events sorts of support that the server does. So you'll not be able to do events directly inside of the local web storage system, but you will be able to do workflow. You'll be able to advance a workflow at least one step in the workflow process and then sync it back up, and the server does all the right things. So Office 10, built on top of the local web storage system, Outlook talks to it, Office Designer talks to it. Then out of Tahoe and Exchange, both of those products are built on the web storage system themselves. They're just different flavors of the web storage system, and I'll show you the differences between those two flavors of the web storage system. But the key thing is all the tools and the APIs that developers want to build against, or customers want to use front page, or IT managers, they understand the feature set of the web storage system. Those all work against all three. Right? You can kick up your browser, go into Visual Studio, develop something on your local web storage system while you're on a plane, sync that up to Exchange Server. It all works beautifully across the enterprise. You can fire up front page, go against a Tahoe server. Right? You can fire up ADO, go against your local web storage system, Tahoe, Exchange, whatever you want. It's all supported across those three web storage systems. Same thing with even WebDAV. So you can do WebDAV queries across these three products. So we really come together when Office 10 and Tahoe ship, that we can scale across from client to department with Tahoe to enterprise with Exchange. So it's just a tiering of the technology across those three. And we have a similar sort of application model inside of the web storage system. So here we see just a different spin on it. But you can see all your different clients inside of here, whether it's a development tool, Office, browser, or Windows client. And it talks to this web storage system, and all of the web storage systems ship with what you see on the right-hand side, except for the local web storage system, which doesn't have store events. But Tahoe has forms, local store has forms, Exchange has forms, all the workflows work across them, data and schema all work across all these different products. And then the other key things here is just looking at the APIs, right? CDO for Exchange 2000, ADO 2.5, LADB 2.5, HTTP, and XML. And MAPI, this is the difference between Tahoe and Exchange in terms of web storage system, is MAPI is only supported in the Exchange web storage system. So Tahoe, you can't kick up Outlook, at least in MAPI mode, to talk to your Tahoe server, but you can kick up Outlook 10 in using HTTP DAV to actually talk to an HTTP DAV server. So that could be a Tahoe application or an Office Designer application stored inside of Tahoe. So we are doing a lot of work to unify everything under this web storage system model, under the web storage system branding. We are bringing up an MSDN Dev Center for web storage system. We're going to try and start explaining to customers how everything is building on top of this common unifying layer that's called web storage system. So hopefully that explains a little bit onto what we're doing here. So I'm going to show you a quick demo of an Exchange 2000 application. Let's go back here. And this shows a whole bunch of different things. So I'll just talk to all the different things that it shows inside of here. Let me go back. My session may have expired. Oh, interesting. Let's just get rid of this. There we go. So for those of you who were in my IM session earlier today, my RTC session, we see the IM control that ships as part of IM services ship as part of Exchange 2000. So this shows how you can integrate in IM into your custom application. It is an ActiveX control, so anyone who is able to run an ActiveX control can run this control on their system. What we're seeing here now is just a web page hosted out of the web storage system itself. And you can go and obviously, create a new course inside of here. And what this does is it creates a new, let's just create one, I don't know, WSS overview. And we'll make it in building 43. Let's select a date for this thing. Make it on the 28th. Start at, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Description is WSS overview. It's a developer-focused talk. There's no prereqs. There's 23 seats. And then if you click this authorization required, we'll use a workflow process that already is installed inside the folder to route it to your manager, and your manager has a certain amount of time to approve it. I actually won't do that. Sure says, hey, do you want to create a discussion group? I'll say, sure, create a discussion group. And you want to create a location for your course materials. If I say yes, you'll see here's some of the features that are in all the web storage systems, which is, OWA ships in both Tahoe and Exchange. So you can see I can pass in just a URL to my course material location, pass command equals content, view equals messages, or I can, pass in view equals messages with auto preview or whatever sort of view I want. And then we even have a file. So this is the IFS interface. So then if I pop back into this month, inside of here, we see I have my WSS overview. Now this is using ADO to go out to the web storage system and actually query this data. And we can go up and register for this course. If I wanted to say, hey, instead of viewing this thing as just a list, I want to view it as like a real calendar. You don't have to write much code to do this. You just reuse Outlook Web Access. So this is actually Outlook Web Access inside of here now. I can go to my 28th here. I get the daily view of Outlook Web Access in my browser. And then we have this idea of web storage system forms across all the web storage systems. So you can register these forms using the forms registry. Say I want to replace either the default forms inside of Outlook Web Access, or I want to replace the actual functionality of an HTTP verb like get or post or whatever you want inside of here. And we'll replace that all for you. So if I double click on this, instead of bringing up the standard Outlook Web Access calendar form, it brings up my custom form which describes the course details. Now why would you want to reuse Outlook Web Access? Well, try and code this. Dragging and dropping the calendar inside of just your application, right? It's pretty hard to do that, and Outlook Web Access has this all built in. So you see we have a certain level of extensibility today in Outlook Web Access. We're actually looking at componentizing the entire Outlook Web Access client for the next release of Exchange, at least. So you'll be able to even more customize what Outlook Web Access looks like, as well as the way you can reuse it inside of your applications. This is all using ADO, so you can do order bys inside of your SQL queries inside of here, up to your Exchange server. If you're a SQL Server developer, right? ADO, filtering, so it's a developer event, so I filter based on that. Then finally, this is using CDO for Exchange 2000 to show my free busy from my calendar. So it's saying, hey, you're free for this course. So I don't have anything actually scheduled for that day. If I go back to my month view, and I go to this workflow course, I already registered for it. It's showing me as tentative because I didn't accept that the meeting request to actually attend the course, but you can see here it's pulling out my free busy in real time. Now you may say, yeah, great, ADO. What I really want is, XML is the buzzword of the decade. And you may want to use XML instead. So let me just flip a bit inside of here. Let's go into the app settings. And let's go to be use XML, and we'll just say true here. Like the Budweiser commercial. True, true. Okay, and one thing I want to do here is to just prove to you that it's really XML. All that nasty XML is coming back down through the browser and being formatted using XSL. This is the actual course XML.ASP that you see inside of here. All it contains is an XSL template which takes back the XML and formats it to HTML, so that's a nice UI for our end users. So I won't go through all the XSL tags inside of here. But you can see like a for each loop, an if statement, adding attributes, showing the values of things inside of here. To show you that it's the XML that's coming back here, I'll just remove this for debugging purposes, the alert. And let's go back to our browser. Now if we refresh this. Oh, did I save the app settings not include? Maybe I did not. Oh, it's true. Crappy product. No, I'm just kidding. Crappy application. Whoever wrote this should be shot. Yeah, no, but that shouldn't matter anyway. It should look a little bit different if I... Interesting. Oh, I know why. It'd be nice if I looked in the right place for the actual files that I'm modifying. It is under 2000. So, okay. You get the idea here. Let's just change it again. True. Let's just test it. Oh, I can't see up here. Okay, there we go. That is definitely XML. Okay, now let's have it print out the XML. So let's go back here. Course XML. Scroll down, scroll down. I can just, right there. Get rid of it. And let's go back to the browser and refresh. There's the nasty XML that comes back. Right, so we are using DAV here to go up to our web storage system. Query it all using DAV. We say return it back to us in XML. It returns us back a nice little XML stream inside of here of text. We take that XML and format it using XSL, and we get the same view. Right, exciting. It looks exactly the same, except there's no talking to the server anymore. So for example, if I start sorting, look at my, don't look at my network connectivity, but look how fast it sorts. Right, it's just, if I do that through ADO, it's got to go back up to the server, resort that. So this is all client-side XSL with the XML data on the local side so that it's very fast. This is the way Outlook Web Access works. It uses WebDAV, XML, and XSL. So it is a great web application built on top of the web storage system, and it ships both with Tahoe and Exchange 2000. So I'll show you that in a couple seconds. So, and then in the training app, we can obviously do other things inside of here. We use events, so you can say I want to be notified when certain courses come in. Here are my course categories, developer and IT. So if I go back to my inbox, right, I signed up for both types. It says, hey, new courses available. It's WSS overview. Click here to register. All this good stuff. This is Outlook 2000. We'll see Outlook 10 in a couple of seconds here. And so you can see the application in its full glory here. And I'll just hit cancel. And then finally, we use things like contacts, so that you can scroll through and look at the actual contacts inside of here. And then we use full text indexing, which is built into web storage system for searching. So if we do a search on VB or VC, or let's go search on, everyone's favorite, Klingon. Jean-Luc Picard is the only person that knows Klingons. So we should go talk to him. So if we look at the way the app is actually built, right, it's just, you can store it in a different hierarchy than just public folders. It supports that, but you see it's just a set of folders. Right? It has a schedule. If I go and look at this in Outlook and I go look at the 28th, we see that WSS overview inside of there. Exciting. Right? We see this is all just standard stuff right out of the box. Now, the thing I want to show you here is also OWA reuse inside of the setup program. So one of the nice things that the web storage system shipping OWA as a core part of it is you can reuse it in your app. So this is the setup program for the training app setup. So if I ran this, it would go through and create the workflow and create the web files and do all the nasty stuff that it needs to do to actually deploy this application to somewhere. But I can go in and browse here, and what you're going to see here is actually this folder tree reused from OWA. So this is actually the OWA folder tree just hosted inside of my web application. I can come through and add in any sort of hierarchy I want to, even on other servers. So I can go into, I have another folder tree called training tree, right? And you can come through here, and you can see all the different folders contained inside this training tree. I've installed the training app like 15 times on this server, so that's why I get confused sometimes which files I'm actually looking at. But you can see here OWA reuse, and then we have this idea of CDO for Exchange management built right into the product, so you can create new storage groups programmatically. Now this takes a little while, but I'll show it to you just so that you can see it actually working. If we pop into the System Manager for Exchange 2000, we go to my servers. And I'll expand this out so people can see it. You see I have a storage group, first storage group, a training storage group, and I have two databases inside of here. And if I look at my folder trees, this is the new capabilities of having multiple storage groups, multiple databases under those storage groups, and then non-mappy hierarchies, non-mappy folder trees. So Outlook cannot see these folder trees, at least Outlook 2000. We'll see Outlook 10 looking at these things. You can see all this technology right inside of Exchange 2000. I'll flip back to this folder picker and I'll say, hey, create a new folder tree. So we'll name it my MTB folder database, my MTB folder tree, and then I've got to give it a URL so that we can actually point to it, or else it's not addressable by HTTP. So I'll just say MTB folder tree. Let's name it MTB virdir, virtual directory. And then it goes through, it's going to go through, query the Active Directory, create the storage group, create the database. It takes it a little bit to mount it, so, I'll do a little tap dance while it's mounting it up here. And then it's going to actually create the virtual directory. And so we have this idea of virtual directories inside of the web storage system. At least in Exchange, we store a bunch of our stuff in the Active Directory so that can replicate. So when you use folder replication, the virtual directories also replicate across the organization. And then you can have your application, in the enterprise, at least with Exchange 2000 and its web storage system, replicate that all around. So there you go. It says, please wait, adding your folder tree to the folder list. You'll see it pop in down here when it's done in a couple of seconds. Takes a little bit. The system attendant actually takes the stuff we put in the Active Directory, replicates it over to the metabase inside of IIS. That's why it takes it a little bit. And now you see my MTB folder tree. If I come back to my training, you see my new MTB folder database. If I come back to my folders here, you see my MTB folder tree inside of here. And then I can even come through and create new folders inside of here, right, and deploy this training app inside of here. The main reason I'm showing this to you is the CDO for Exchange Management objects. Even though it's called CDO for Exchange Management, it's not the best name we could have picked, it ships into the web storage system everywhere. So all this stuff I'm showing you runs on Tahoe. So when we go to Tahoe, I'll show you the same folder tree working against Tahoe. So you can leverage all this stuff from the web storage system inside of any application that you develop that is web storage system based. Okay. So any questions so far? Quite straightforward, right? Okay. Demo. It ships in my MS Press book. No, it does, but yeah, no, it's internally. I have an internal share where I put it up, and so right now, what I showed you there is all working. What I'm doing right now is testing it on Tahoe, so you can show running the same app, the same install, everything working on Tahoe as well. So you can have a departmental version of this as well as an enterprise version with Exchange 2000. So I'll send an email out to the aliases with the location, and at the end of the session, I'll type in the location so that you can download the latest version of it, which doesn't have all that feature but has most of it. Yeah, go ahead in the back. It is on the Demos R Us image. So the training app, not the latest version that I just showed you here. This is a special MTB version that I created just for all of you. The version that works just against Exchange 2000 is on the Demos R Us image. So you can get it there. Okay, so we talked a little bit about Exchange 2000. I just want to highlight some things here in terms of the collaborative features that we're adding to Exchange 2000 and SP1. SP1, we're currently targeting that for first half of calendar year 01, so sometime between January and the summertime for SP1 of Exchange 2000. We do add some really interesting stuff inside of the service pack. First thing is we have the web storage system forms. Today they are in beta. And the reason why they are in beta is that Outlook and Office 10 and Office Designer take advantage of the web storage system forms. So we kind of have to sync our RTM of this forms technology to the Office RTM. So we've got to make sure that we get all the feature set in there that Office requires before we RTM this thing. So that's why it's being pushed out a little bit. But one of the key things that people always ask for inside of applications that they build, whether it's against Exchange or even Tahoe, is they want built-in file attachment / upload support. They don't want to have to write it themselves. They don't know how to write it themselves. So I'm happy to say that the RTM version in SP1 will include a file attachment upload support. So it's just you drop it into your form. It all just works. We do the magic on the server side. I don't know if any of you have seen the front page tools that work against Tahoe and Exchange, but we do have extensions to front page to make it so that any sort of front page developer, even someone who just uses front page and says file new form, and I want like front page has these form wizards where you can say I'm collecting a list of people or whatever it is, that will work against the web storage system. So no longer will it write out to a text file. You can have it write out to the web storage system. We've done all the magic in the back end to make that all work for you. And one of the really neat things about the front page tools, it's just kind of cool, is you can use the front page forms design, drag and drop fields on your form, and you know how front page calls it A1, A2, A3, all these things. What we do is we try and shield at least the front page developer from anything on the back end. So what we'll do is in the web storage system, we have this idea of schema, where you can define your objects and the properties on those objects. What the front page tools will do is we'll auto-generate schema based on your forms, so that no front page person ever has to decide how they're actually going to develop their schema inside of the web storage system. It's all auto-generated and auto-updated by the front page tools. So it's kind of a brain-dead environment if you want to quickly build web storage system applications. And then finally, the last thing is some schema enhancements to add to the multiple versions of the web storage system that ship in all these different places. Today, when you create schema, you point your schema at some sort of base reference that we ship. So things like person, which is a contact, or mail message. We have a base schema like to, from, subject, CC that we ship right in the server itself to shield you from changes, versions that we may come out with in Service Pack 1, Service Pack 2, next version of Exchange. Instead of putting a permanent URL to this base schema, which is just a folder inside of the web storage system, you can now use this # schema URI, and the server magically maps you to the latest version of the schema. So you don't have to worry about, am I running SP1, am I running Tahoe, am I running whatever. You just use these schema enhancements that we have, so that's smart. So we'll make sure we do the right thing always when looking up your properties in your custom applications. Okay. So enough on Exchange 2000. We all know Exchange 2000, right? It's shipped. It's all done. Let's talk about Tahoe a little bit. So Tahoe really, if you look at it, it really falls into 4 key areas, right? Portal and search. And, I love Tahoe and everything. It's a little weird that we ship a departmental document management and an enterprise search in the same box, right? It's a little strange. Got to position it correctly, but it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So it has portal and search, which are both enterprise-wide. Has departmental document management, which is built on the web storage system. Has built-in team collaboration. And what we really talk about here is using Office Designer and its templates against a Tahoe server for building workspaces for the team. And then finally, it has built-in messaging and collaboration infrastructure. It ships the web storage system directly inside of it. So if you want to do more of a replicated environment, right? You need enterprise features. You require Active Directory. You want to do things like messaging or instant messaging or those real-time collaborations. Exchange 2000 is our core product here, right? It's the key thing that people are going to buy. Tahoe comes down from the portal and search and document management as well as departmental team collaboration. Exchange is up from the enterprise, so team collaboration across the enterprise inside of there. And then our client is Office 10, or Office 2000, even with some sort of web browser if you want. So we really are targeting it in this way. We're trying to segment it so that if you're looking for departmental web storage solutions or departmental document management or enterprise search and portal, Tahoe is the product to buy. If you're looking for messaging and collab infrastructure that you need to build on top of, you need a replicated environment, right? You need MAPI support. Exchange 2000 is the thing you're going to buy there, but your applications can go between the two, right? You can build your applications in such a way that it can go between Tahoe and Exchange. So the training app. Here, let me flip it over here, and then I'll come back and talk to this. I'm going to have to go to my Tahoe server. Oh, I should have tested this machine before I... there we go. Okay. So here's the same training setup program, right, that we saw earlier. I'm just going to run it. I've got some debug statements inside of here. Come on, splash screen. So I'm going to click on this Browse button again. Yeah. What you see here is the same folder tree, but now pointing at my Tahoe server. So the same thing that I did exactly inside of Exchange. Create new folder, and I can call it MTB. Creates a new folder called MTB, and I can click OK and actually take this thing. What's the only thing that's missing here? Can anyone guess? Yeah, he got it right up here. This gentleman should get a prize. Adding a new folder tree. So the difference between the web storage system that ships inside of Exchange and the web storage system that ships inside of Tahoe is Exchange is the enterprise one that supports multiple storage groups directly inside of the web storage system. Tahoe is a single storage group, right? If you go and look at it, it is a single storage group. You cannot add multiple storage groups to a single database. So that's why there's no create new folder tree, create new storage group inside of here. It's a single one. It's a departmental solution. But it's the same thing, right? So let me cancel out of here, let me exit out of here. If I go and look at, that magical M drive that we look at in Exchange usually, we see Tahoe has the same exact thing, right? It has local host, public folders, which we expect. Now I'm showing hidden objects, but what we do by default is we hide the workspaces. And the reason why we do that is so when an Office developer using Office Designer, or an Exchange developer using Visual Studio or some other product, or even like a WebDAV developer comes in and tries to query the public folders space, they don't see the workspaces. And there's a couple of good reasons why we did that. Because when you're talking to your customers and you're talking about our collaborative technologies, you have to talk about Tahoe in such a way that it is both an out-of-the-box application for document management, search, and portal, and it's a departmental web storage system that you can build on. And this workspaces thing is this out-of-the-box application that you don't want to mess with, because they have global event syncs that can mess up your applications, right? They have different schema. They do a bunch of different things for their out-of-the-box application, where we tell a custom app developer, if you need a departmental web storage system solution, build it under this applications folder tree. Don't go under the core workspaces stuff. So that's why we hide that by default. Plus, in the application space, there's no such thing as versioning, check-in, check-out, those sorts of things. But you can integrate in your applications in the application space using the object model of Tahoe to do things like check-in, check-out in the workspaces tree. So you can integrate the two together. Just don't store your ASP files or your VB app under workspaces. Always store it under the applications folder, and life will be good. You'll be happy. So you see here, the same app runs across, and when I'm finally done with all the testing of this training app, you'll be able to see it running on Tahoe as well as Exchange 2000. Same code, same everything inside of there. It's quite a quick port over to the other web storage system inside of Tahoe. So as I said, don't build it under the workspaces, because Tahoe does have to have an event sync for things like check-in, check-out, versioning. It gets really funky when you try and build applications in a versioned folder. Right, your VB project is versioned all of a sudden, right? And, it gets really weird. The other thing is, if you're building applications today using the file moniker, right? For those of you who know that nasty file moniker we use inside of the web storage system, in Exchange we use file://whack backoffice storage / fully qualified domain name. So that'd be something like myserver.microsoft.com / public folders / my application. What Tahoe does is, since it can run as a departmental server, doesn't require Active Directory, doesn't require anything else, we actually don't know what to call that fully qualified domain name, so we call it localhost. So if you're developing applications that are hard coding in that domain name inside of there, and you want to try and bring it over to Tahoe, just make sure you either know to put in localhost if you're on a Tahoe server, or just use HTTP URLs. Your life will be much easier. And then finally, Tahoe, the web storage system that ships in Tahoe, has no replication, so it cannot replicate to other servers. Now, one of the things with Beta 2 of Tahoe that we're currently working on is being able to install Tahoe on the same server as Exchange. So Tahoe doesn't suddenly become replicated and all that stuff, but you can coexist the two systems on the same box. And to show you that we're really using the same web storage system technology underneath, we'll only have one instance of the store process itself. So it is the same stuff underneath. So it ships with all the same web storage system features that you would expect with Exchange. Right? It has schema, has forms, has OA. Right? I'll show you a bunch of this stuff. Has events, has workflow, ADO, LADB, CDO for Exchange 2000, CDO for Exchange Management, WebDAV, XML. The only thing it does not have is MAPI support. I'll show you OA in a second. And then a little bit on the extensibility of Tahoe. We do ship with CDO for Exchange 2000, ADO, and LADB, but we do have custom stuff on top of Tahoe extensibility for their application that they ship in the box. There's an object model, PKM CDO. It's the PROG ID that you see up there is a holdover from the Publishing and Knowledge Management Group that they used to be called. So it's PKM CDO. They actually aggregate CDO for Exchange 2000, so they just take our core objects and just add on top of them. It exposes the document management functionality that you would expect. So there's check-in, check-out, versioning support, publishing support directly inside of PKM CDO. So you could build a custom front end to the document management system if you wanted to. And then it also, PKM CDO allows you to import and export content and metadata to other things. So maybe you want to export your metadata to, Active Directory, I don't know, wherever you want to, SQL Server, or you want to import maybe content from, file systems or, GroupWise or something else, some other system that contains some sort of content. Tahoe Search is also extensible. So Search, if you want to build your own custom handler for your own data type, it does expose protocol handlers as well as iFilters, and Adobe has an iFilter for Acrobat that they have up on their website that you can install onto Tahoe and start playing with that. The other thing is, if you've done anything with Exchange 2000 and its full text indexing and search, same exact thing except it's enterprise-wide, so it can search other content sources, but it's the same thing. So all the SQL syntax that you're used to inside of the web storage system in Exchange is the same thing in Tahoe. So if you do a query that uses free text or contains, it will use the full text indexing and search. And then we can do things like coercion and thesaurus. So coercion is when you do a search, and maybe you want to do a search on web storage system, and you can coerce the ranking that comes back from the search engine. You can say, if the actual item that's returned back contains Exchange 2000, I want to rank this, give this a multiplier effect, and rank it higher than something that doesn't contain Exchange 2000. Or you can just say, I want to add 100 points to that search result after the fact if it does contain Exchange 2000. So you can coerce the search results so the rankings can change even after the fact. You can even do the source stuff. So you can say, forms of inflection. So you can say, I want to do a search on, run, all forms of run. So running, I ran, all that good stuff is built right into the search itself. And then finally, the portal. So when we were doing Tahoe Beta 1, we were going down the path of building our own portal front end. And Digital Dashboard 2.0 came out, and people said, "Wow, this digital dashboard thing, these web parts thing, they're pretty cool." So what's your portal support, Tahoe group? And we said, "Well, we've got our own set of ASPs. It's quite good." And people said, "Oh no, let's not do that. Let's actually leverage this digital dashboard thing." So if you've seen Tahoe Beta 2, it's all built on Digital Dashboard 2.0, and all the Tahoe functionality is built into web parts, which I'll show you so that you can take these same web parts in your own dashboard and put them in your own application. So we're making it extensible, the portal, through just the digital dashboard interfaces. So create your own web parts, use the Tahoe web parts, leverage it all. So the net of Tahoe, and then I'll show you a demo of all this good stuff, is if our customers today are looking at web storage system inside of Exchange and developing on Exchange and buying into the web storage system religion on Exchange, you're set for them to understand Tahoe and the way Tahoe works on the back end, right? It's all web storage system. So PKM, CDO, and some search enhancements are really the only difference, and that's only one storage group, right? And it doesn't replicate, and it doesn't have email and instant messaging. That's really the only difference between the two, right? So it's departmental. It doesn't require Active Directory and all that infrastructure junk that we require for Exchange 2000. Does anyone here do infrastructure stuff? It's great stuff, right? I used to be an SE out in the field doing Exchange infrastructure stuff. But to be honest, right, Exchange has a lot of baggage that comes with it. Active Directory, right, all this good stuff. Tahoe can really help us, number one, get into accounts that say, you know what, I don't want that Exchange thing. I've got Lotus Notes, or I've got something else, and Exchange, it's kind of the kiss of death for some customers. So what really Tahoe gives us is, number one, not branded Exchange. So you'll never see, Microsoft Exchange Document Management Server for the name of Tahoe, right? So it's right now the thinking is to brand it Windows. Something Windows, who knows? Windows Document Management Server, I don't know what. But so that we can go in to our customers and say, customer X, you want a document management server, you want search, or you want portal, or you want a departmental, really great web application development environment, you can buy this box from Microsoft. And you don't require Active Directory. We don't require any of the overhead that Exchange does. It's not even branded the same Exchange thing, but it gets you all the great features that web storage system technology in Exchange provides. So it's good stuff. So let me show you this. Now, are any of you running Tahoe for your document management? Oh, good, a bunch of you. What do you think? Pretty good. Yeah, it's good stuff. So let me show you some of the core stuff behind Tahoe. As I said, right, it does ship with, Outlook Web Access. So if I come into like localhost public, yeah, try again. Boom, Outlook Web Access on Tahoe, right? We see the same exact thing that I showed you earlier going against this public store. We ship everything in the box that you would expect, right? It's the same exact thing. You could even, use Outlook Web Access if you really wanted to. Obviously, there's no mailboxes on here, but Outlook Web Access is a core part of it. So it's the same code base as Exchange 2000 Web Storage System. The other things inside of here, what we do with Tahoe is we leverage web folders quite extensively. So I've got a web folder here to my Tahoe server. I'm showing hidden stuff. So normally, like end users wouldn't see like locks and the shadow folder and all these things that I'm showing here, but I'm showing those things. And Tahoe provides actually some very key stuff, right? So if I come under my documents, Tom Riz, right, I have a document here, check in, check out. It's in a version folder. I can bring up the properties inside of here, and I can see the profile, the document profile inside of here, and you can create multiple document profiles. The versioning, so I can see when the different versions were created. Set the security, and you'll see here, we've changed the security UI inside of Tahoe because we really want it to be a departmental server, right? Like when you show an end user or someone who's running a server inside of a department, the ACL, the ACL editor inside of Windows 2000, people barf, right? They say, oh my God, what is this thing? I don't know how to set this thing up. So we try to push it down to make it very easy for knowledge workers to do these things. And then obviously search and categories. So you can set the categories that the document belongs to, all this good stuff. So Tahoe is quite good here, and it builds on top of this web storage system. So let me pop up here inside of web folders. Let me go to my Tom Riz properties. And what you'll see here is enhanced folders. So this is enabling versioning. You can create folders inside of the web storage system in the Tahoe document management application that are not versioned, right? But so we do that in a number of places right inside the portal for that reason. We see here's the user and group administration. It's actually inheriting from my parent in here, so I can reset this thing not to inherit from my parents. Here's the same profile, so I can say the available document profiles for this folder are these certain ones. You can obviously set other ones inside of here. Then finally, they take advantage of the workflow engine that's built inside of Exchange 2000. So when someone comes in and publishes a document, right before it can be published, you can do a simple workflow. Now, obviously, you can take the workflow designer if you want to and build a more complex workflow outside of their environment, but you can do the check-in, check-out yourself programmatically. But we do things in Tahoe. Well, yeah, I don't have not connected to the network, but you can come in and select the approver, and we do like serial workflow, so one after the other, or parallel workflow. So you send it all at once, and you only need one approval or all approval. So we don't do things like the majority of people have to approve it. It's very simple sorts of workflow, but as I said, you can do the workflow designer to do more, and then obviously comments for the approval workflow inside of here. So it's all customizable. Let me show you. So this is through the web folders interface. You can also get at it through Office. For those who haven't seen it, so let's say I'm a knowledge worker. I'm typing this really great doc, telling a lot about collaborative stuff at Microsoft. You see here we have extended Office, check in, check out, publish. I can just do File, Save As, go to my web folders, and we'll see the same interfaces inside of here. So I can go to my Documents folder, my Tom Riz folder, and save it inside of there. What it will do is it will check it out to me. I can come in and I can say, hey, check this in. It will bring up version comments, because this is a version folder. I can say first draft. Then I can say publish this after checking it in. And if I had approval here, it would actually route it through the approval before it published it. I can say the profile for this document is base document, whatever my coordinator of my workspace told me to do. I can type in keywords inside of here, add new ones, whatever, and then I can type in a description, and I'll hit OK. The attributes are stored with the document inside of the web storage system itself. Now, with categories and those sorts of things, you can customize that. Let me pop back up here to the main information here. So for like categories here, you see categories are stored inside of here, and you can customize the categories inside of here. So I just have some, wacky categories in here. But you can create, a new category under category 1, which is under category 4, which, does something. So I'll name it, I don't know, MTB category. Give it a few seconds. It's firing all these events and all this great stuff in the web storage system, so it takes a little bit. So there you go. So I got a new category called MTB. But what we actually do is we store the stuff on the document. By default, the search engine, you can set it up to crawl the workspaces. So when someone does a full text search, it will search not only the document itself, but the metadata. This is one of the key things about Tahoe and why it's built on the web storage system. So the web storage system, we built it so that metadata and document itself can be stored in one single location. And there's a question back there. I'll get to it in a second. So that metadata and the document can be stored in one location so that when you do a query or full text indexing, or when you do, we do property promotion, so that metadata like author, document profile, all that good stuff is promoted up to the row so that you can do an ADO query, a full text query, all this good stuff. We store it all together, the metadata and the document, so that same security, same backup, easy administration, easy for end user semantics, and it's integrated in the way that people usually work with Office, so you don't have these two different stores for that information. So yeah, there was a question back there from the gentleman back there.
Yeah, the question about, say a team is already using versioning existing in Office, and they want to migrate their file library to Tahoe. What is Tahoe doing versioning in Office?
So the question is existing versioning in Office. And I'd have to go back and check. I'm not completely sure on that one. I believe Office may store the versions as part of the structured document itself, right? So if you bring the document over, you'll get the versions at least from the Office standpoint. Let's just do this. Let's look here. Yeah, they're probably totally separate, right? It's stored in the doc itself and Tahoe. The way Tahoe works is we actually store like a shadow of the things inside of here. But yeah, see, so you see here, I assume this is the versions inside of Office. Oh, actually, I haven't versioned this folder, it's Tahoe. But save now, whatever. Save. Oh, I got a lot in there. 3 versions of the same doc right now. Okay, it's saving in the shadow. What we do is, the way we work when it's checked in and it's not published and these sorts of things is, what you're seeing in those shadow folders is we actually shadow the storage of the documents in a hidden location. That's the way it really works, right? So if you come in here, you see all these different things inside of it. No end user is going to see this, right? It's because I'm administrator of the machine, I'm seeing all this stuff. But what we do is, when it's checked in, checked out, versioned, all this good stuff, we have this like hidden area where we put all the stuff, right? So it probably does not integrate in with the current versioning inside of Office, but I'll check. I'm not completely sure, but I'll check. Yeah.
Can you limit the number of versions that you created for specific documents?
So Tom's question is, can you limit the number of versions? And yeah, you can limit the number of versions. I believe it's in the MMC interface for Tahoe. So Tahoe, you can get at it through web folders, and I'll show you the MMC since you brought up that point. Web folders, you can get at it through regular Office. There's for administrators, there's an MMC interface in here. So I'll just bring up my Tahoe MMC to create like new workspaces in here. So let me go to demo here, and I'll bring up the properties for this workspace. And you see inside of my workspace, number of major versions retained per document. So I can say, I'll only take 2. So the difference, what we say is a major version is when you publish it. So you say, the first time you publish it, it's 1.0. If you make a whole bunch of changes, we dot it until you publish it again. So you can check in it, check it out, check it in, check it out. And then when you publish it, it's actually a major version. And you can come through, as kind of an administrator inside of here and set up your indexing, your logging, and your subscriptions and discussions. And so for those of you who've done anything with Office Web Server, OWS, you'll say subscriptions, discussions. Interesting, right? Sounds like an OWS thing. Tahoe can superset some of that functionality of OWS so that You know, if your customers need something out of the box where they can build collaborative workspaces, and I'll get you in a second. When your customers need something out of the box, let's say in like, you know, Office 10, and they say I need a collaborative workspace, and I don't have Exchange Server, or I don't have Tahoe, OWS is a great solution there, right? It provides a great out-of-the-box experience. But if they really want check-in, check-out, versioning of documents, right, enterprise search, portals, those sorts of things, then we're going to obviously upsell them to Tahoe, as you would expect. So we've got the MMC interface, and then the final interface that we have is this digital dashboard interface for Tahoe Beta 2. So you see the standard things that you would expect. You know, I don't have very much of a portal going here. But you see it's a dashboard. So if I come into content, guess what? Web parts. And I can come in and import, you know, from the Office 10 Beta 1 sample web part catalog and edit my catalogs. I can create a new sub-dashboard, or I can create a new web part. Now you see here I can't remove some of these. The administrator of the portal has made it so that I can't get rid of them. But you can see they're just all core web parts inside of here. So we see all the standard stuff that we'd see in the digital dashboard, you know, web parts that we ship with the resource kit is all built right into Tahoe. So it is all web parts that you can leverage inside of your own applications. You can even do the, you know, great sexy demo of, you know, changing the layout. You may not be able to change the built-in Tahoe layout. Let's see if it will take it. I'll move my quick links. I want my announcements down here, and I want search all the way at the bottom. The administrator may have locked it. No, I didn't lock it. Okay, so you see here that you can actually do all the standard stuff you can do with web parts. Key thing is you can build your own dashboard front ends, take these web parts, use them inside of your own dashboard front ends against a Tahoe server. Pretty cool stuff, right? It took a bunch of work to do that, but it's pretty neat stuff. And then obviously, you know, as you would expect, if I go to, now I got to find my actual document library. There it is. Through the web interface, I'll go to my documents folder. I can discuss or subscribe. Or I can do a discussion on this thing, or I can subscribe to this folder so it will notify me when things change. Let's go into my Tom Riz folder. Let's find some documents. And we can do everything through the web browser as well. So if I come into this document, whoops, I didn't mean to open it. I can show my actions. And my actions here are checkout, history. I can, you know, check it in if it was checked in, or I can publish it. So this actually will use things like PKM CDO to do these things. So the object model that we expose to custom developers, we use inside of our own ASPs. These are all ASPs, so if you want to pull them up, take a look at them, you know, do whatever you want to. What you see here is also it's ASPs running inside of web storage system forms. So when we talk about web storage system forms, you see the URL here is just to the doc itself. It's not like .asp up in the bar here. That means that we've registered a custom form for that doc. We pass in a command here, which you can use in our forms registry for the web storage system, either in Exchange or Tahoe, or inside of the local web storage system, and we'll bring up that custom form for you. So you see this information inside of here. It's all goodness, right? It all works. Tahoe is exciting. Departmental web storage system solution, as well as out-of-the-box document management, search, and portal. Now that gentleman, yeah, go ahead.
So that was great for Office documents. What about non-Office documents, pictures?
It's web storage system. You can store whatever you want in there.
So when you get this, I mean, what functionality will you do? I imagine you can store the metadata with the file sync on.
As long as it's an Olay stream, like, you know, like Olay properties, like Office does, it will work perfectly fine. For example, let's just take an example here. Now, I haven't tried this. You know, the demo gods could spit on me today, but let's just try this. I'm going to go under the non-supported way, but let's go through web folders. I'll go through the supported way. So let's go under Tom Riz. He may not let me drag and drop in here, but I'll have to see. Let's just take, let's go to My Documents, My Pictures. Here's sample.jpg. Bang. There you go. You can check it in, check it out, do whatever you want to it. Right, I can even come into properties. Yes, one gentleman liked it. So you get the same thing, right? Because the web storage system is object-oriented, it can store any type of thing inside of here. All works. All works. Oh, these people are all right. So now I'm waking you up, finally. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, yes, there was a question? What about... I didn't... Thickets. That's a new word.
So there's an HTML document and a folder that's go alongside it. It has the content files, all the GIFs and the...
I haven't played with that, so I've never used a thicket. Huh.
Save it PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, just file save as HTML? Oh. And then it does all the JPEG stuff, writes out the files. I mean, theoretically, right, if you do file save to, like, let's just do it, right? What the hell? You only live once, right? It's the last session of the day, right? I'm willing to try anything here. You want me to format my hard drive? Damn it, I'll do it. All right, so I got some nice stuff inside of here. Let's create some slides. Thicket is a new word for me. Oh, wow, okay. Interesting, okay. Let's do one more slide just to keep me honest. And let's add in an image inside of here, right, so that we actually get something. So let's go to our great samples .jpg. Awesome. File save as. Make sure, keep me honest here. So I'm going to save it as HTML. I'm going to point it at my network places, demo, documents, Tom Riz. I have no PowerPoints in there yet. Let's save it as some sort of decent name, like my PPT. Let's go into it. Let's refresh this thing. Oh, I might take it a little bit. Oh, my PowerPoint files. There you go. So you can check it all in, check it all out, do whatever you want with it. Now, let's see if it can reconstitute it. It should be able to. Let's just open it up as an HTML. Try again. Oh, what Tahoe. What a product. Oh, my God. Ship it today. Ship it today. Anything else? Any other requests from the audience? Nothing up my sleeves? Yes, sir. Go ahead. Yeah, his question is, would you replace Site Server 3 with Tahoe for an Exchange server crawl? And the answer to that is it depends, right? If you're just crawling Exchange information, you know our content indexing inside of Exchange works pretty well. But we do have some issues inside of our content indexing. Obviously, our search indices are per storage group, per database. I mean, so you can't search across. Like, let's say you wanted to search across your mailbox and your public folders, right? We don't do that sort of collating of the indexes, but Tahoe does. So if you have that requirement of searching multiple storage groups or databases, Tahoe is the way to go because it can do that in a single index. The other thing is if you have other content sources. So that's the other thing I didn't show you. I'll just show it to you really quickly. Let's go up to demo on Mech Keynote, and what did I want to do? Management, content sources. So you can come in here and you can have, even beyond Exchange content sources, you can have other content sources. So you can have websites, file shares, Tahoe, Exchange 2000, Exchange 5.5, and everyone's favorite, Lotus Notes. Exactly. And it will do it all in a single index. So you can do a query against that one index and it will do all those things. So it depends on what the requirements are. But Tahoe is obviously a much better search engine when it comes to searching and crawling multiple different data sources, but it's the same technology. It's the same technology that ships in Exchange, except it's limited inside of Exchange stuff. Okay. Anything else? Oh, data source. Okay. This question is, in beta 1, you could crawl like databases. And it is my belief, and I'd have to go back and check, that my data was like a month old, but in the final release of Tahoe, we will not be able to crawl like SQL databases. I believe that is, yeah, that's like a v1.x thing. So I'm not completely sure, but I'm pretty sure. So yeah, he's confirming it for me up here. There was a question in the back. The gentleman in the back has been raising his hand for a while. I didn't hear that. Can someone relay it up here, like, a network, like a router and some sort of hub? Repeater. Is it that thicket thing again? Versioning on that thicket? Who comes up with these names IntelliSense? Okay, there must be some good drugs up in Redmond. Wait, I'm there. I don't get anything. Okay, anyway. Versioning on these thickets. So you want to version like one of them? Oh, versioning the things themselves, the thickets themselves. Yeah, I believe you'll probably have to. It probably won't work, right? Like you're saying, version like an actual file. Oh, like the whole thing. Or like as one group, you're saying. Oh, no. No, it's individual file. Now I understand. Now I get it. Now, theoretically, if you want to go out and write an app, you could version that entire thing, right? You could check them all out at the same time. If one person checks out one of them, they check them all out, right? And then if you wanted to write, you could do it. Just out of the box, the document management application inside of Tahoe does not. Hold on. No. Okay. You can do it. MCS, billable hours. There you go. Yes, question? Can I mention what's going on with team folders? Okay, let's get to the next part of the presentation now. Just kidding. No, team folders. Team folders, still works inside of Exchange 2000 and inside of Outlook 10 because we still have all the same technologies that we have inside of Outlook 10 that we had in Outlook 2000. What we're doing with the team folders technology that we had is we're kind of migrating that to Office Designer and the Office Designer templates. So you'll be able, what people really wanted with team folders is the ability to have a collaborative workspace. But a lot of people said, I don't want to just host it in Outlook though, right? I want to run it inside of just a standard web browser. And so that's what we're really doing with Office Designer and the Office Designer templates. So, but any investment that anyone's made inside of team folders will move ahead to Outlook 10 and beyond, right? It's all just going to work inside of the next release. So, does that answer your question?
I'm thinking more short term, are there going to be web parts for digital dashboards that will emulate a lot of the team folder?
Are there going to be web parts for the digital dashboard that emulate a lot of what the team folders do? And no, there's no plan to do that for the current version of team folders. So, but Office Designer has a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of templates such as like discussion, standard stuff that you found in team folders, discussion, project. It has like new ones like workflow, right? It has a bunch of neat stuff, and it can be HTML 3.2 or Office 10 or IE5 based. So it takes team folders and puts it on steroids somewhat, right? And makes it in the web world. Okay, anything else so that we can? How about TPU? Yeah, let's add Team Manager and Bob. TPU, not moving that ahead. Right, so that we're done with that product. So if customers are looking at building on TPU today, you may want to point them somewhere else. But it's good stuff. Right? If it meets their needs and they understand that, then that's okay. Okay. So let's talk about local web storage system. So Office 10 ships with a local web storage system. No longer do you have to think of like OSTs inside of Outlook, right? It is all talking to local web store. It supports most of the functionality of the Exchange web storage system and the Tahoe web storage system. Supports web storage system forms, so you can do forms registrations and all these things. ADO and OLADB, it's a little bit different in that it uses, what you're going to want to use is the MSDA IPP provider, or Rosebud as it's called internally. The difference is MSDA IPP, you talk ADO to it, it talks WebDAV out the back of it. So that's what you're going to want to use against the local web storage system. Obviously, it supports WebDAV XML itself. It does not provide event support, so don't be writing asynchronous or synchronous event handlers against this thing, right? Because we talked about earlier, it has to run on Windows 95, Windows 98 platforms that really don't support have a great support for the eventing infrastructure, the requirements that we need on the actual operating system. And then it does support workflow via moving one step in the process. So you can be working offline, hit approve in your application. You move it ahead one step, and then you have to sync with the server. The server will fire the event sync on the server side, check the workflow process, make sure you can really move at that step, and then party all day, continuing on in the workflow. It adds some new stuff, and this is really, really exciting stuff inside of Office 10, and the Outlook team has done a kick-ass job in taking advantage of local web storage systems, so I'll show you that in a couple of seconds. But you can now take your web applications, which even include ASPs, offline. So you can run any sort of ASP application with some limitations. We don't support the whole range of the ASP object model, but you can take these web applications now and run them offline. This is something that we've never had before, right? Am I the only person that likes offline ASP? What about security? In terms of, we can use the XML security descriptor that we have inside of the web storage system. So are you talking about security from that standpoint? We won't break anything, bringing it offline. So if there's like if in your ASP you do some sort of check or something like that, right, well, it just won't work offline. And it's just standard stuff that will work offline. So this is what Office Designer uses, right? It can store all of its stuff inside of the local web storage system, which it is ASPs. And you can replicate that up to your web storage system on either server. The other neat thing, and this is really cool, is no longer will Outlook hang, right? You'll see asynchronous replication with the other web storage system stores. So you write to this local thing, when it gets a chance, or you say send and receive inside of Outlook, it says, okay, I've got all this local data, let me push this all up to the web storage system, either in Tahoe or Exchange, pushes it up there. You can pull right out of the network, and you should see no noticeable change, right? It's all just working asynchronously in the background. If I can get it to go, here, we'll try it in Outlook. You'll see sending a request to the server. Do you want to cancel this request? So if it's taking a long time to send something up to the server, you can just say, you know what, that 10 meg attachment, cancel that request up to the server, and you'll get it right back. It's actually in another window, so you can continue doing stuff with Outlook inside of the environment. So it's really some good stuff inside of there. A little bit more about Outlook 10, and then I'll show you a demo of both Outlook 10 and the web storage system, the local web storage system. COM add-ins move forward, so if you're telling customers to build COM add-ins, right, they move forward into Outlook 10. And Outlook 10 gets an enhanced object model. This is kind of exciting. We've implemented some features that customers have been asking for inside of the Outlook object model for a long time. Number one, we have a views object model, so now you can programmatically create views and modify views. This uses the new XML view descriptor technology that's inside of the web storage system itself. So for those of you who've fooled around with OWA and web storage system forms, this is the XML view descriptor. We also have a reminder object model now, so you can actually do some really neat stuff with reminders. Before it was somewhat limited. You only got events when reminders fired. You really couldn't cancel them. You have to dismiss them really quickly and hope the user doesn't see them. So there's really some good stuff with reminders. And one of my favorite features is an end user feature of Outlook 10. Single reminder UI. So no longer do you have cascading reminders shooting across your screen. It's just one UI for your actual reminder. So that's some good stuff there. Yeah, that's definitely a clapping. Yeah, question? Well, the reminder now work when you move it from the inbox to other folders, and my belief is no, but okay, no. But if you're using either Tahoe or the web storage system on Exchange, event sync. Server-side event sync, you can have it trigger the reminders for you to the client, either sending it down to a COM add-in using loosely coupled events in COM Plus or some other neat method that you can think of. Or you can send it through IM. Another feature, right? Send a reminder through IM. So there's a bunch of stuff you can do programmatically now that we have this really great platform of web storage system everywhere that you can take advantage of. So OWS. Subset of Tahoe features, right? This is the thing that will ship in Office 10 right now. The thinking is shipping inside of the next version of Windows. Allows end users to quickly create and use collaborative workspaces. So it's, if I had to position this thing, it's similar to Tahoe, but if you had to If you're really important about documents or enterprise search or really having a really rich digital dashboard portal that you could customize, Tahoe is the upsell to this thing. Today, I'll be honest with you, right, we really don't have any good way to migrate the data that you put inside of OWS to Tahoe. But who knows? Maybe we'll get a smart MCS person to do it on the side for us. Give us that code for free. Ship it inside of the box. You get a nice little ship it plaque. Isn't that good? Okay. I guess no takers here today. And then really it's not targeted at the developer like Tahoe and some of the other web storage system stuff is really targeted at the developer. It's more targeted at the end user and doing like a work group sort of collaborative workspace. So that's my deal with OWS. If anyone wants to talk more about it, we can, but I'd rather show you a demo of local web store, Office Designer, and the other stuff. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. Having 3 machines in one thing is not very much fun. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I just want to show you some exciting Outlook 10 end user excitement stuff. So the first thing when I kicked up Outlook 10 was, the first thing I noticed is the preview pane is different, right? Look at this preview pane. It's actually a fully featured Outlook preview pane. So I could double click and bring up, the actual address information. I can come in and type, if I edit it. But I can come in and do information right inside of the Outlook preview pane, click on hyperlinks, do all this stuff. It's all integrated right inside of here. So this is one neat thing that Outlook 10 provides. The other neat thing, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. But this is a meeting. Why doesn't it let me accept? Here you go. I can accept, tentative, decline, or propose a new time. This is another cool new feature. This is another cool thing. So have you ever gotten into like a meeting time war via email where you say, someone sent you a 9 a.m. one, you say, no, I'm not available at 9 a.m., make it for 1 p.m. They respond back and say, oh, I'm not available at 1 p.m., make it for 3 p.m. And you get back and forth and back and forth. Well, now if you say, hey, this time isn't very good for me, I'm going to counter-propose a new meeting time for you. Cancel. Don't bug me, Outlook. Okay, you can come in and you can counter-propose. You say, hey, this isn't a good time for me. Let me move this to another time inside of here. So I say, 12 to 1 is better for me. And the person on the other side will receive that and they say, that's a pretty good time. I'm going to accept that as my new meeting time. So it's actually quite good so you don't get back and forth between, fighting about meeting times. The other things inside of Outlook 10 that excite me, right, I'm a big fan of calendaring. So I always use calendaring. And this is a Ted Turner feature. Because Ted Turner, I had to, get berated by all the people at CNN about this one feature, which finally got into Outlook, and now they're, now that they're Time Warner, they're moving, and it's AOL, they're moving to AOL anyway. So we got it in though. Calendar color coding. How many of you have ever wanted to have like your personal calendar appointments be in a different color than your work ones? I do, right? So you can come in here and say, I need to go play golf. Well, you can say, hey, this is actually personal, make it green. Right? You can say, oh, I need to actually start working on a demo here. Let's make it business, let's make it red. So you can use categories in the color calendaring of Outlook 10 to actually have a very rich sort of calendar. And this is great for administrative assistants. We always hear this for executives where they say, they have 3 executive assistants who are managing their calendars. They want to quickly be able to see whether it's personal, business, something else inside of the calendar. So this is one really great thing that's in calendaring. The other thing is the unified reminder window. So here, when it pops up, I don't have very many reminders. You'll see a whole bunch of reminders just pop right into this window. You can select them all and dismiss them all at once. Or snooze them all at once. What a feature. It's great. And then the other thing, and this is something that customers have been asking for forever, and we've got it in, is unified view of multiple calendars. So what I can do is here, I can do schedules inside of here. I have like one already inside of here. I'll create a new one. I can type a name for the new group schedule. I can call it, my directs, right, for my direct reports. I can add in group members inside of here, so I can add it from the address book. So I'll add in, Jean-Luc, new IM, virtual conference, all these guys. And, not much free busy is happening inside of here. You can even add in public folders. So you can say, I want to add in a public folder, which is like a calendar folder inside of here. So now you can get a quick view of your team's information. And if I could actually, have some free busy of these guys, I could actually, if they had appointments, I could view the details of those appointments. I can zoom in, zoom out. I can go to 400%. Let me here open this full window. zoom out, right? I can see all this in a single UI, which makes my life easier inside of Outlook. Okay. Obviously not a very important feature for you. Woo, there we go. All right, one of those at least. Now let's see if I can get it to go, okay?
How's that different from the meeting?
So zooming in, zooming out, being able to look at details. And what's the other stuff that you guys position it as?
It's actually the same code as the meeting planner, so the difference is that you can save this.
Right, it's kind of like a MRU sort of thing.
But all the features that are there, zoom in and zoom out, showing the text on the grid, hovering over the grid and being able to see details, are available both in the meeting planner and in the same calendar.
Now the thing that I really want is the unified view, overlaying them all on the same calendar. But alas, there's an Outlook 11, so you will have that great feature just for me. Okay, so what else do I want to show you one other thing. So let's see if I can get local web storage system. So you see this little icon down here hanging out. The whole time I've been running this demo, you really can't see it. It's over down on the right-hand side. It says Microsoft Web Storage running. That is the local web storage system. I have not been hitting the server as long as the data is on my client. I've always been going against this local web storage system, and it's been querying up to the server for me. Let me see if I can get it to kick, and we can get that request to come up. So let's see here. How am I going to do this? Now, you'll see one quick thing that you'll see here. Where's synchronize? Exactly. No more synchronize. It's send and receive now. So you can go and send and receive. And one of the great things, I don't have Hotmail here today, but you can also integrate in Hotmail now into Outlook. And there's no more of that two-mode crap that we had, right, where you were in internet only or corporate and work group. It's all the same. So you can be reading your Hotmail and Exchange server messages all at the same time. So your customers don't have to worry about that anymore. And then there's the send and receive, but I don't know if that's going to trigger it. What I wanted to show you is if something's not on the server and it's taking a long time, it will, well, you see the integrated OE sort of send and receive inside of here. So I can do send and receive, that sort of thing. And it will synchronize in the background. But let me send like a really huge attachment here. Let's see if this will trigger it. Okay, let's just do test. Word is my email editor inside of here. So you see how fast Word is an email editor. I have to wait the 5 seconds or 10 seconds for Word to come up. It all just works seamlessly. There's smart tags, which I won't go into, but you can hover over things and create smart tags. How come I'm not in the address book? I haven't downloaded the address book. That could be an issue. Okay, let me just download the address book. Maybe downloading the address book will trigger it. Let's see. Yeah, full details. Nope. I just am not in luck getting local store to not be performant today. It's just so fast. Okay. Still not. Okay, well, you get the idea. What would happen if I could kick it to actually go and not have the data directly inside of here? Let's try and change a view. Maybe that will do it. No, I shouldn't do it. But what you'll see is a separate window come up and it says sending request to server. Do you want to cancel this request? And you can continue working with Outlook while it's sending up that request to the server. So you don't have to worry about that. I don't think this will trigger it either. Now, so I tried, but I couldn't get it to work. The other thing is, you see this My Shared Folders? Guess what this is? First thing is you can talk, you don't have to talk MAPI anymore to an Exchange 2000 server. You can talk all over HTTP DAV inside of Outlook, except for the address book, I believe, is still MAPI. That's okay. It's okay. But even if you are talking MAPI, we have this idea of shared folders, which talks over WebDAV. So you see I pop in here, I pop in here. Now this is all talking over WebDAV, kind of what Outlook Web Access does. And I could add in a non-Exchange server inside of here. I could add in a Tahoe server inside of here if I wanted to and look at applications contained inside of my Tahoe server. So you can see all the schema, my Exchange server, all this good stuff. This could be a Tahoe server as well. So we've integrated this idea of being able to talk over the different protocols that the web storage system supports directly inside the Outlook client. And then finally, IM is integrated as well. So you see IM is integrated right into the client, change my status, log off. Are you guys still doing the work for contact IM status, or did that get cut?
Yeah, IM. Oh.
There was a plan at one point to do contacts, and you could show their IM status right from inside of here, and it doesn't look like it's there.
You can store their IM address instead of contact. The only place we show status is in the mail note.
Okay, so let's try this. You can see it on the info bar if you open up the contact. I am online. That's okay. Doesn't work all the time. It's not even beta 2 yet, so give it a little bit of a break. But you get the idea, right? We're trying to integrate in all this collaborative technologies, both real time and other stuff inside of. Yeah, look at this. What is it going against? It must not be going against the local store. I don't know what this thing is doing now. It's not even hitting the wire. Okay, anyway, you get the idea. I don't know what's going on here now. I'll get the infamous, if anyone's running Office, you get that the application has crashed. Would you like to report this problem? And I never hear back. I'm not loved. I report it all the time. Oh, there we go. Okay, so anyway, you get the idea. So that's Outlook 10. You get an idea of Outlook 10. It still does things like folder home pages. So now what I really want to show you is Office Designer. I'm just going to do it very quickly because we are running out of time here. But Office Designer is a tool that ships inside of Office 10 that allows you to build web storage system applications against Tahoe, against Exchange, against the local store, the local web storage system. We have this idea to make it very easy for developers to build applications by shipping a number of templates. You develop your web application inside of here. I don't have the templates on my machine. But for those of you who are interested in learning more about Office Designer, and if you're coming to the post-MTB hands-on labs for Jeff Weir's and my post-hands-on TB post-labs, we'll do 2 days of Exchange 2000 development, and then the final day is Tahoe and Office Designer. So you actually build an application with Tahoe, and you'll build an application with Office Designer. So you're going to want to drill into that post-MTB there. But you get the idea here. I'll just show you some of the stuff. It can talk to the web storage system, create schema, create forms using web storage system forms. So there's a number of templates like issue tracking, project, a number of other things inside of here where you can build very complex applications that leverage all the capabilities of both the web storage system as well as Outlook in terms of the Outlook view control. So I won't drill into all this stuff because I have some more stuff to talk about. What time does this thing end? Does anyone know? Like 2 minutes ago. All right. All right. Final thing, and I swear I will blast through these slides in about a minute. So if you want to hear about the development tool stuff that we're working on. So we support a number of things today. VS6, front page 2000. With VS.NET, we are doing a ton of work to make web storage system and Exchange, I say Exchange here, but it's really web storage system, to gain additional support in VS.NET. First thing, Server Explorer. If you've seen the Server Explorer for in VS.NET, we have a Server Explorer for web storage system that plugs right in. You can download it off of MSDN today. You can browse schema, browse events. You can create new forms. And you can use web forms inside of VS7 to create new forms inside of the web storage system. We're building out managed providers for ADO Plus to talk to the web storage system. So you'll be able to take advantage of ADO Plus against any web storage system that has the managed provider. We're looking at building in SOAP support. So you can do SOAP queries, to calendaring, messaging, whatever you want, as well as managed CDO. So one of the things we're thinking of doing is building into the .NET framework managed CDO. So that CDO will run in the managed providers and managed space of the .NET framework for Visual Studio.NET, as well as all the .NET stuff. So we're doing a ton of stuff there. The managed providers are key for you in a number of different ways. We'll have an ADO Plus managed provider, and we're looking at a WebDAV managed provider as well. So if anyone's interested in this stuff, you can come up afterwards. It's kind of geeky, and I can talk to you all about the XML data cache and all that good stuff. Okay, Office Designer, we showed that. If you want to learn more about that, come to the post-MTB sessions, and we'll show you everything you wanted to know about Office Designer. One quick thing about Mod 10. Workflow Designer, new version ships inside of Mod 10. We're going to have a single exe for SQL Server and Exchange. So no longer do you have these two separate exes. You run one exe, and it will target either SQL Server or Exchange, depending on which one you're talking to inside of your application. Plus also, Workflow Designer 10 integrates in with the Visual Studio.NET shell. So you can plug it into Visual Studio.NET. When you get in Visual Studio.NET, it's built in the same shell. Office Designer is also built on the Visual Studio.NET shell as well. So wireless, I didn't get to show this. I'm so bummed. Okay, let me just show you a demo of some wireless stuff. Mobile information server. How many people have seen Microsoft Outlook Mobile Manager? One person. Okay, good. Let me show you just very quickly. Microsoft Outlook Mobile Manager. So this is the interfaces to manage. I should just minimize all, but I'll just do it the lazy, slow way. There we go. Microsoft Outlook Mobile Manager is technology we're building for mobile information server so that you can do things like schedule when notifications should go to your wireless device through the mobile information server. You can say, I only want this information to go Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. Don't give me this information after work. We have this neat idea in mobile information server and mobile manager is summary. So the night before or the morning of, early in the morning, you can say, send me all my appointments, my meetings, my tasks that need to be done for that day on my phone or my device, my pager, whatever it is, so that you can get that summary for the entire day like MSN Mobile does today for like news and those sorts of things. You can set up profiles. This integrates in with Outlook. So you say enable prioritize mail, only highest priority, and use the rules wizard inside of Outlook to tell me which ones to send forward to my actual wireless device. And then the neatest thing that Outlook Mobile Manager does is IntelliShrink. And so we know that devices, wireless devices, don't have very big displays. So here you see like hello there, appears this is not very well compressed. We worked with research to do things like remove words, remove spaces, but not remove the meaning. So if you use IntelliShrink, you can do things like word shortening, so we remove like hello there, because it doesn't really add any value to it. Prefix shortening, space removal, and then finally you can remove all vowels. So you get TIC. So, okay. So with that, I just skipped the entire, how it does all work, what we're going to do in the next version. I'll make these slides available. Just quick summary. We've got a winning platform, web storage system. We've got winning tools, Office and VS.NET. We've got winning access, wireless access with mobile information server. So go out, tell your customers all about the goodness of web storage system. We'll make sure it all comes together in a great, coherent strategy around this technology. So thank you, and if anyone has specific questions, come on up. And go buy the book. MS Press makes me say that.